So guys, welcome to this module. In the previous module, we learned how we could do some scene setup, camera setup, and a little bit of rendering. So in this module, we're going to be learning how to work with smart bones, how to do some other kind of rigging that requires the use of smart bones. So what smart bones does is that they give us some extra controls to the controls we have in our character already. These are the controls or the rigs. Okay, these are the rigs that we created earlier. So what smart bones are going to do for us is that they're going to give us some additional controls to our character. So I'm going to be showing you an example. So this bone is the bone that controls the head. So I'm going to add a new bone here. I'm going to use this bone to control the blinking of this eye. So I'm going to call this my blink bone. So what I want is that whenever I move this bone, that this eye should blink. It just give us some extra controls. They help us to control our character better. So right now I'm going to clear every animation from this layer. I think we still have some blinks. So we no longer have the blink that we had initially. So we're going to use, instead of using switch layers to control this blink, we're going to be using smart bone. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to come here. I want to introduce us to a window that we call our action window. So it's in this our action window that we have some kind of extra controls that we can add to our character, or there are a lot of things we can do with this our action, but I will not be introducing that. I'll not be explaining it in details in this beginner's course. Okay, when we get to our advanced course that I'm hoping that all of us will opt into, we're going to be learning some more complex things in Moho. So right now we're going to be using just the few features. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come to my bone layer, come all the way down here and say make smart bone dial. So this window is going to come up with the bone layer selected, with the blink layer selected. You can see we have blink here. So the parameters that it's requesting for here is how much angle am I going to move this bone in order for that action to be performed. So for example, I'm just going to state here that I want 90 degrees on both sides. Okay, and then I'm going to use just 24 frames. So I'm going to explain each of these in detail with time. So let's do that. I think we did this. Okay, so now once we have clicked OK, you see that these that the color of our timeline changed, and then we have two what we call actions here. The first action controls the rotation of the bone in one direction, as you can see, guys. The second action controls the rotation of the bone in the other direction. Okay, so this is what we have. So now any change that I make to this character, whether a bone rotation or whether a vector movement, is going to be recorded with this action. So the next time, once I move this bone, that action will be performed. So right now, I want this character's eye to blink. So I'm going to select this character eye by clicking Alt, right click on my keyboard. Then I'm going to drag this down. We have now done some masking on this layer and it's going to be affecting us. I didn't want to introduce masking in these I didn't want to introduce so much masking in this beginner's course. So because of that, I'm just going to be tweaking this so it look as though the character blinked. I didn't want to introduce masking in this layer, in this course. In subsequent courses, we're going to be working with masking and layout. So I'm going to just tweak this down. Okay, so now it looks as though the character blinked. Okay, so now I'm going to double click my main line to return back to my normal timeline. Okay, So now guys, I've recorded the action of the blinking with this bone. So that whenever this bone is moved, whenever I move this bone, the character will blink. So that I will not have to be doing the same action over, I will not have to be repeating this same eye blinking whenever I need it. So we just delete this. Anytime that I want the character to blink, I'll just move this down. Whenever I want him to stop blinking, I'll move this up. Okay, so this is what we call smart bones. So we use smart bones to add some controls to our character. Okay, so we're going to do something else. Remember, this bone has two actions. If you look here, we have action 1 and action 2. Action 2 is what is controlling the blink. Action 1 is when I move the bone up. So you see right now, when I'm moving the bone up, there is no action that is associated with it. But when I move the bone down, that's when action 2 takes place. Okay, so I'm going to work with action 1 now. So I'm going to double click it. Once I double click it, you can see the red dot behind it showing that this action is selected, and the bone that controls the action is likewise highlighted. So I'm going to move the bone all the way to the 24th frame. On the 24th frame, you can see I'm going to move to my 24th frame on my timeline. You can see that the bone has rotated to the upward direction. So any other action I perform on this character is going to be recorded. Okay, now I want him to bulge his eyes, so I'm going to move this out like what, something like this. So we have a bulge here. Okay guys, so you can see now I'm going to click away. Whenever I move this bone upwards, oops, that's not what I want. I'm supposed to select the bone layer. I'm select the transform bone, manipulate bone tool. When I move him up, it's going to bulge. And then when I move it down, it's going to blink. So guys, that's what we call smart action. So to explain further, I'm going to create another smart bone. This time, this smart bone is going to control the mouth. Okay, so let me come down to where I have my mouth. Okay, I'm going to use, let me make a duplicate. I'm going to bring this mount out of here. I'm going to turn this mount off. Okay, so this is the mouth we're using for, this is the mouth we created earlier, switch bone mouth, switch layer mouth. But now I just want to work with this mouth particularly. Okay, so I want to use a smart bone to control the opening and closing of this mouth. Okay, so to do that, first I'm going to close this mouth. Let me close it up. Again, guys, there's what we call masking. Masking would have helped us do this better without squashing anything. But masking is beyond the scope of this course, so I'm not going to do masking this today. So I'm just going to squash this down. So we're assuming that the mouth is closed here, right? Okay, so we're going to use a smart bone to control the opening and closing of this mouth. So to do that, like before, I'm going to select the bone that I want the smart bone to be attached to. Then I'm going to add my smart bone. This time I'm going to name this one mouth. All right, next we're going to come to the bone menu, select create smart bone, make smart bone dial. All right, so here we want 90 degrees on both sides, and then we want 24 frames, and then one separate action, one action to control the one bone is going to control two actions. So I'm going to click OK. Usually I have this rotation that's not necessarily what I want. I usually want my bone facing one direction. So I'm just going to do this, or necessarily we might not have need to do that. So we're going to leave the bone in this direction. So when the bone turns this way, something happens. For the second action, when the bone turns this way, something else happens. Okay, so for this action um, window, I forgot to mention, if you don't have it open, simply come to your Windows and select Action. Windows Action, or hit Ctrl K on your keyboard, and you have your action window open. If it's not on its own like this, you can come to Windows, select Docking, and select Action. Usually you'll find it positioned like this, find it docked. So if you want to undock it, come to Docking and click Action. So you have it undocked like this, so you can move around. So the second mouth action controls the bone rotation in this direction. So this second one I think is okay for me, or let me use the first one. So the first one, when the bone rotates like this, I want the mouth to open. So I'll come to the mouth layer by clicking Alt, right click on my keyboard. Then I'm going to make some changes. I think I have so many layers here, so many points. I'm looking for the points that I can use to open the mouth. There you are. So I'm going to open the mouth. Then I'm going to position the teeth wherever I want it. So the tongue is going to be somewhere here. And the teeth will be somewhere here. So guys, we have an opening and a closing of our mouth. Let's move it down. It's supposed to be opening downwards, not upwards. So we have this, open, close, open, close. Let me open this a little. So we have open, close, open. Position this. Okay, so guys, what I've done to this mouth is that on the frame 0, I have everything squashed, and on the 24th frame I just simply positioned it the way I want my open mouth to look like. So whatever modification I made to this mouth has been registered on this keyframe. Okay, so when I return back here, you can see my mouth is still closed, but then since the action has been recorded to this bone, whenever I move this bone, in this direction, the mouth will open. So you can use this in your animation also to indicate, to do a lip sync. So that's it basically, guys, for using smartbone. So you can use your smartbone to control quite a lot of things. Okay, so for the second path, the other part, that's the mouth number two. Remember, there is no action that has been recorded on it. So I'm going to show you guys that you can also use this to control a bone. We have been using it to control points, so let's use it to control a bone now. So let's say we want our character to laugh. Okay, so I'm going to move his head this way. Oh, this our mouth is not bound to any layer. Mouth, so I'm going to bind it to this. It's not bounded to any bone. Okay, so so when this bone moves, I want this head to tilt to the left, and then I also want him to blink. So I'm going to move this down for a blink. So you see we have tilt. Alright, so when I click away, and then I try this bone. So when I move this bone, we're going to have one bone that is controlling multiple actions. So you see guys, it's controlling both the rotation of this head and the rotation of this bone. So that's basic way to use your smart bone. Right guys. So see you in the next module.